I'm joined here by Joe Shelley, who's the game director for Diablo 4, and then I have Joseph Pipora, who's the associate game director
Dobra, zobaczymy.
of Diablo 4. Obviously, this is our, like I said, our first live stream here,
That's right.
live at Blizzard right now that we're doing
Live,
for
live
Diablo
in the cave.
4. Live in the cave.
We're here.
You guys are seeing it for the first time. This is our brand new studio that we'll be doing live streams from going forward. You probably recognize some familiar things in the background as well. We have like Bale back here from the Diablo 2 Resurrected commercial that we actually did with Simu Liu and,
Nie ma napisów, to jest live.
Winston Duke, which is really cool.
Greg,
We got,
wierszyk.
like, the giant Diablo skull in the
Przeczytam
background.
wierszyk po wywiadzie, dobra?
Skate deck. I'm like trying to point in random directions right now as I look at myself on this monitor.
Yep.
And then, of course, Lilith.
Lilith.
Lilith's right here.
Albo nie.
And what's cool? Oh, and behind Joe's head, we actually have a giant treasure goblin.
treasure
It's
goblin.
it's the mascot.
Bo dobra,
Oh,
bo
it's
oni
free.
zdążą.
Sneaking up on
For
me.
Team Diablo there,
Prezydent jest wiecznie live.
especially in our building here at Blizzard. But as you guys know, we've been doing developer
Wydka.
quarterly update blogs
No, figurka Lilith
since
jest
the
mocna.
announce back in 2019 with Diablo 4. And this is kind of our new format going forward. We're actually going to be doing more and more developer update live streams as we head towards launch for D4 and even post-launch. But this gives us the opportunity of being able to connect with the community, hear from the devs, straight from them, through a fun format like live streams. So please excuse our
No i spoko,
mistakes
Bragier, niech
and
powiedzą
slip-ups. I
szczegóły.
promise you we'll have them. It's the best part about doing live streams and so forth.
The live part.
The live part, exactly. But at the same time, what's great about these is that you guys will be able to
Dokładnie,
hear more and
Kalwadoreks.
more from the developers behind the scenes and hear their stories about how they are working on the game and what they're working on. So in future live streams, we'll have more information and more details about Diablo 4 before we head into launch. But yeah, I know we have a lot of stuff that we actually did announce over the past week. And Joe, I think it would be like a great opportunity for us to kind of dive in and kind of talk more about like what's occurred over the past couple weeks.
Yeah, the past couple weeks have been, really the culmination of the past year of getting the game, getting all the content into the game, testing the game. We've had test after test this year, internal tests, the closed beta endgame test, which was, we wanted to test our endgame to make sure that we have a chance to tune it and polish it before launch.
Yeah.
Better to test it before.
As early as
launch.
possible, right?
Including the previews, the press previews that we did. Some of the press got to play and community got to play a little bit before the Game Awards, and then of course we had.
No potem
the
będę
Game
coś tam
Awards
tłumaczył,
moment
tak
that,
Burek? No.
Really capped off
Woda.
the year and brought in. We had the monks take over the Game Awards. There in LA, we had that wonderful opening where everything got dark and you sort of had a little bit of mystery about what was going to happen, and then of course Halsey performing.
Yeah, the Halsey moment was amazing, and this image was so cool. This is actually a picture she ended up taking right before the Game Awards performance, holding the Diablo skull. It's incredibly iconic in terms of how it was.
Oh, it looks
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
I had no idea she was such a huge Diablo fan.
I mean, I love how it mirrors this statue of Lilith holding the Diablo skull.
Yes.
Yeah, and she is a huge Diablo fan. She said her first Diablo game was actually D2. So it's pretty cool to be working with her and having her perform her song Lilith there at the Game Awards and having that cool moment as we led into the reveal of the trailer and of course the big announcements at the Game Awards being
Nie podoba ci się ta piosenkarka Jonari?
for Diablo
Hayley.
4, which is, we can finally say,
That's right.
which is June 6, 2023. And during that announcement, we also ended up opening up pre-orders for the game. And we have multiple different versions for people to pre-order
TV.
online or on the Xbox Store or on PlayStation. But we've also gotten some questions regarding the actual different versions. And I think we want to just kind of like go through a few.
Siemano, kogo kurczak?
Kind of detail out exactly what people end up getting for each of the different versions of the game. I know that the first version, obviously, is the standard edition of the game itself. And if you end up pre-ordering any copy of the game, you do get early access to open beta.
Yeah, so
right.
it doesn't matter what version
O,
of the game you get.
skrzydła Inariusa w
As
Diablo
long as you
3.
pre-order, you're going to get early access to the open beta.
Exactly, and pre-ordering the standard version of the game, comes with benefits in it itself of like within Diablo 3, Diablo Immortal, some cosmetics, and of course it comes with the a mount in D4. And I think one of the coolest things is this World of Warcraft mount. And I have to give a huge shout out to the WoW team here. They absolutely killed it. I've been using this around Valdraxxus myself while playing Dragonflight. It just looks so cool. And it does come with the pre-ordering the game in itself. And if you get pre-order PC, you actually get it now. And if you pre-order on console, you'll end up getting it at launch with console when you can link your Battle.net accounts.
Yeah, and that mount is based on a character in Diablo 4.
Yes. Spoilers.
Oh, sure, yeah.
But yeah, we won't spoil everything. But yes, it most definitely is. And then there is the digital deluxe version of the game. And we also have an ultimate version of the game. But with the digital deluxe version of the game, you do actually get early access to the launch of the game, which is really awesome. And it ends up coming with an additional mount in D4. And of course, it also does come with the Battle Pass in itself, the premium Battle Pass for the game. And I know we have an image here for the ultimate version of the game as well, which comes, with the...
Na razie rozmawiałem o wersjach gry i pokazują, co za to możesz mieć, także nic ciekawego. Harion, siemanko.
Inarius wings in the game. Show them off in town with your remote button.
Yeah, and we've gotten some questions from the community that we wanted to talk about regarding the at least with the premium battle pass itself, because I think there's questions related to pricing of what the battle pass is going to be. It is going to be $10 in US dollars in in-game currency value for the premium battle pass. So you get that included with the digital deluxe and the ultimate version. The ultimate version does come with like the tier skips and so forth. But then, and there's also questions related to early access for the digital deluxe and the ultimate version, because I think some people were wanting to know, like, oh, does that come with with early access? Does that mean I have like a massive leg up on people? And I know you guys wanted to talk about that a little bit more.
Yeah, so I think there are two points there. One is getting early access to the game's release that you get through the deluxe version or the ultimate edition. And the thing I want to be clear about is that the game will not be launching in season 1. Season 1 will arrive weeks after the launch of the game, and when season 1 starts, everyone will be starting at the same time. Everyone will have an even playing field, and a lot of our competitive features like leaderboards and those kinds of things are going to show up in seasons. So folks who get early access to the game will get to check it out early, but you don't have to worry about any unfairness in terms of seasons.
Yeah, and I know with like the premium battle pass and so forth, like there's like some tie-in or some questions tied to like season journey and everything.
Yeah, this is a good actually. I'm glad we have an opportunity to kind of talk about this a little bit. So there's I think there's confusion about the distinction between the battle pass and the idea of the season journey. And the season journey is still in Diablo 4 in the same way that you found it in Diablo 3, and that it's kind of a chapter-based mechanic that as players are progressing through the season, able to complete these various objectives tied to each chapter. We've made some updates to the way the feature works. You'll be earning like rewards for your character as you go through the process for this, but you'll also be earning favor by completing chapters of the season journey. And that favor is what drives some of the progression for the battle pass itself. So just by playing through the game normally and completing some of these objectives and earning these rewards for your character, you'll also be progressing your battle pass more quickly, which is great because even if you don't buy the battle pass, and there are so many like items in the battle pass that are still available for free, you'll just get access to as you rank up the battle pass anyway. So even if you don't spend the $10 to purchase the premium battle pass, you'll still get like some minor cosmetics and a few like gameplay like boosts that you'll be able to earn during the course of that experience. But even those boosts, like let's say you get the accelerated version of the battle pass, a few extra tier skips that come with the when you start playing in season 1, which is again when the battle pass would actually start. Yeah. Like these gameplay boosts have a character level requirement attached to them in addition to the tier requirement. So just if you've managed to purchase a few tiers or if you progress that more quickly, you'll still have to have a character with the appropriate level to make use of any of those things. it's really, really important to us that we balance the things that you can find in the Battle Pass in a way that they're compelling but still very fair. We don't want to have any situations where players can feel that they can pay to win.
Yeah. And of course, all of the
No,
seasonal
nie wiem,
content
ciekawe.
Is completely free and it's not attached to the Battle Pass itself.
Trochę to jest takie przykre, że w sumie oglądamy to 15 minut i w sumie gadamy cały czas o sianie, nie? Trochę to jest takie... Brakuje mi tych starych czasów, kiedy zaczynało się wywiad z deweloperami i po prostu widziało się dwóch gostków, totalnych nerdów, geeków, którzy po prostu już się nie mogą doczekać, żeby opowiedzieć o swojej pasji, czyli o grze, którą robią. Trochę to jest smutne. Takie mam odczucie. Śmierdzi dolcem strasznie bez pasji, tylko kasa, misiu. Tak, tłumaczenie się jakby już... O Boże. Tłumaczenie się już, że to nie jest pay to win, tego, tamtego. Mają te przyspieszone battle passy. Powiedzieli teraz, że przyspieszone battle passy, które można wykupić za dolce, dają faktycznie jakieś tam in-game'owe boosty małe, ale są i tak wstrzymane bramkami levelowymi, że postać musi mieć dany level. Więc no nie wiem, czy tutaj już nie jest to lekki podjazd do P2.
The next big thing that I do want to also mention with the pre-ordering all
Siema
the different
Masterek,
games
siemano
is
Master.
the collector's box. And I know we've seen a lot of chatter about this because of like all the cool items and so forth in it. We did
Cześć,
want to,
Master.
yeah, we have an image right here. I mean, it looks amazing. We did want to clarify
Nie no, mikropłatności będą, tylko jednak większość mikropłatności, no to mają być to mikropłatności związane z... Wszystkie mikropłatności miały być związane z
and
transmogami.
it will be available on the Gear Store in North America, EU, UK, and Latin America after the stream itself. And then
No
in
tak,
Australia,
tak.
New Zealand, and in Korea, they will have those available at select retailers for people to actually pre-order as well. So there is going to be options here for people to check out or purchase the actual collector's box. There is one other question that I know that a lot of people are have asked about, like, hey, does this actually come with a copy of the game? It doesn't. This is just a collector's box of all the items that are inside, like collectible items that people would want related to D4. But this also gives you a little bit of flexibility too, because you can actually end up getting a standard version of the game and a collector's box if you prefer, or you can get the ultimate version of the game and the collector's box. So you can kind of mix and match depending on exactly what you specifically want for your own needs, because you may be like wanting all the collectible items and as opposed to all the digital items or so from that end. But what's even cooler is that we actually have a collector's box here.
Yeah.
You do.
So we do want to show it off for the first time.
Look at this.
Yeah, this thing is massive.
This thing is massive.
Ja cię kręcę,
So
co
we're
tu się
going to go through
dzieje?
a few of the items here. This right here obviously is the
Oni normalnie czują się jak na targu przekupek. Jakbym poszedł na swój plac Bieńczycki tutaj.
professional hand models.
Poszedł kupić pomidory.
Yeah, clearly we're very good at this in particular. But it's really neat that it just opens up like the gates. And I think there's a plan to do more, have like
Correct.
more of
Yeah.
an unboxing video.
We're gonna show off some items here, but then after this stream, we are most definitely hoping you guys actually check out the Diablo YouTube channel, because the Diablo YouTube channel itself is gonna have a full unboxing of all the items and give you like a little bit of a closer look and details and so forth. But we do want to show off what we can here for sure.
Yeah, so the first thing we have is like one of these prints.
Pudło
Yeah,
spoko.
prints that actually
ITV to nikt nie gra w Immortala praktycznie. Tutaj nikt.
collector's box in itself. Of course, some people may be familiar with some of this concept art that we've actually shown off in the past.
Dla Crew oglądamy wywiad z deweloperami z
Of
Diablo
those,
4.
and we have another one down
Yeah.
here
More here.
of this loving couple.
Yeah, it's the happy couple, right?
The Inarius Lilith combo here of the concept art between both of them. Inarius in chains there.
Yes. Again, so cool. We'll look at these characters this way.
And then we have
There's
the
like things. There's things.
yeah, we have the Horadrim
Yeah.
pen as well, which is
O,
really
to
cool.
jest ładne.
And you can be like Tyrael now.
Jest dobry bazar.
Yes, Tyrael now.
Dobry bazar jest Achtung, nie? Wystawiany normalnie.
Yeah,
Dobry
this is
bazarek
so cool
jest.
Because we had to build
No, opinie jest ładne.
the Horadrim are a key part of the story of Diablo 4, and so we needed to design a symbol that appeared in game that was really,
Telezakupy mango chyba, no telezakupy mango jak coś włączyliśmy.
and it turned out to be quite
To co, jaki numer? I dzwonimy, kupujemy od razu?
make this physical pin so that you could kind of
Be part of the secret
part of
club.
it. Yeah.
That's right.
997.
So you
Nie, ten
can
numer to
join an
kłopoty.
order of secret demon hunters going across Sanctuary, trying to keep things safe.
Exactly.
This is actually one of my absolute favorite things here that we're about to show. I want to make sure that I actually get it
Oh.
the right side up.
Na to czekałem najbardziej.
There we go.
I did.
There we go. Live.
Yeah.
This is the cloth map here of, and what I think the coolest part about this is actually a full representation of like the areas you'll be playing in
Yeah.
Diablo 4.
That's right. When we went to build the world of Sanctuary for Diablo 4, one of the things we wanted to do is make sure that the game map had the feel of the kind of map that you would have that people made when they thought maybe there were a bunch of serpents in the water.
Right.
And so it was so cool
To mi
to
się podoba
build
akurat,
all of
tak.
that art for
Też
the
mi się
map,
podoba
and then getting
ta
to
mapa.
actually represent that as a physical object in the cloth map is so cool. And there are even more embellishments on this map. A lot of the art there at the bottom and all around the outside.
Yeah, and the framing is so cool. Like Lilith's up at the top and like kind of center frame there, and then of course, like we mentioned, like there's points in the game like Skazgland, Dry Steps, etc. that are represented in the map that you'll actually be able to see. And when you open up the map in Diablo 4, it's essentially this, which is awesome. So
Yeah, I'm just a huge D&D and RPG nerd, so like anytime a game has a cloth map that comes with it, like I'm just so ecstatic to be able to just hang that up someplace.
Ej, ale wy macie też takie, czy to jest tylko moje? Ja się czuję, jakbym poszedł na stream telezakupy Mango z Blizzardem i normalnie siedzą takie 3 przekupki i tylko po prostu kup. To jest super, zawsze marzyłem o takim kubku, kupuj go, nie? To jest przepetarda, zegareczek, kup go, stary. Jezus. Całkowicie inaczej sobie wyobrażałem początek chociaż tego streama, nie? To jest takie smutne.
John Mueller.
right.
But yeah,
To jest targ.
pretty awesome. I'm so sorry. There's like super glare.
Somewhat glossy,
Kartofle,
it's very
kartofle,
nice.
kartofle.
Glossy
tak,
pages,
lody na
everyone.
patyku.
It looks great. But yeah, this thing is massive. It's super
Yeah.
heavy. It's hundreds of pages here.
I mean,
which is really cool.
it's that's how thick it is, right? Like this is a lot of art. It's really cool. And we can only show you a little bit of it.
And honestly, if you've like ever pre-ordered like a collector's edition or anything like that from other Blizzard titles like World of Warcraft and everything, the art books from all the art teams here
Yeah.
have always been so phenomenal. And that's just another. So
That's not the last piece here. We have
Yes.
this. We have the candle.
yes, the Candle of Creation here is
Yeah.
included. This is kind of like the main centerpiece for the collector's box in itself. This thing is really awesome. It's pretty hefty too, and it's great because it's double-sided here, so you can kind of choose sides
Yep.
depending on what you would want. Lilith on one side and Narius on the
Ale
other.
gówno, nie
Did
kupuję
we
tego.
just do like a Twitter poll for like Team Lilith and Team Anarius?
We did.
Nie będę dokładał do tego. Miałem kupić kolekcjonerkę, ale wycofuję się.
Lilith would have been just
Would have crushed,
dominating.
yeah.
Yeah, but it ended at a 50-50 split.
Tobie też się
So
podobał
there are most
Sandy, no.
definitely a good mixture of fans between Anarius and Lilith, but
Nie, kurie, jeszcze nie mówili nic o grze.
there's a ton of
Na
detail
razie 30 minut oglądamy sprzedaż, wiesz?
model everyone. And then of course it's even got some extra.
Tak, łodawnicy, zgadzam się z tobą, no. Nie ma ekscytacji, nie.
Fallen Skulls.
U nich nie
You
ma
can really
ekscytacji, nie.
see some of the
Dzięki
the
Sob za
detail
follow.
of Anarius Pauldrons.
It's almost hard. It's hard to show off the level of detail, but thankfully we have a video later that we'll talk about some of these things. And we have some
Exactly.
images going up as well.
Yeah, and it's got a because this is an electric candle in itself. This is not like something that will just disappear after using it for so many uses and so forth. But it is battery operated. There's a switch on the side and so forth. But you can then have it either
No, wielmożny w 30 minut mocno im się udało. Jest omega cringe, stary, no.
be in favor with.
Mondays with Lilith and Tuesdays with Anarius.
Exactly. So yeah, this is the collector's box
Siema,
itself.
Doman.
As I said, we will have an unboxing on our YouTube channels immediately after the live stream. So make sure to check that out. And pre-orders should be going live after this live stream on the Gear Store. So, and that is in, again, North America, Latin America,
pierdziele.
Europe, and the UK. And then in Australia and Korea, it will be available at certain retailers. So make sure to keep your eyes peeled for those specific regions and where those details are going to be.
Co za sprzedawcy
This
w
is
ogóle
the
tutaj.
collector's
Nie
box, so
wierzę.
it's actually really cool.
To teraz mam naprawdę marne przeczucia co do pay to win w Diablo 4, jak tak wygląda.
And pre-order in it itself because
We gotta do this.
I gotta do this. But we actually have a lot of other things to talk about. As you guys know from the Game Awards and what you probably saw in the beginning of the live stream.
No soap
Speaking of which, I do want to apologize for
Też
our
tak mi się
counter. It clearly looks like Belial has gotten to our counter at the
Colossus,
beginning
no.
of the live stream. It was moving a little slow. Lord of Lies most definitely has taken advantage of it. But we did start perfectly on time. But the
Nie wiem, woda w misce to jest chyba ten, Targ Bieńczycki.
the new cinematic
Yeah.
for Diablo 4.
Stream dzisiaj z IRL zrobiliśmy woda w piwnicy.
Just one more, a good refresher, just in case if you're jumping into the live stream now or if you haven't taken a look at it. I've seen it a million times, but let's take another look at the Inarius and Lilith trailer.
Ja pierniczę, ale jestem załamany, powiem wam, że smutno mi strasznie. Bo jakby pieprzyć tą kolekcjonerkę, nie? I tak dalej. Wiadomo, już jej nie kupuję. Miałem ją kupić, ale nie chcę dokładać do tego cegiełki, do tego szajsu. Ale obawiam się o przyszłość D4 w takim razie. Jeżeli oni to właśnie w taki sposób prowadzą, no to jak nie będzie pay to win, to będę aż zdziwiony i w szoku. Coś wykombinują. Takie mam przeczucia teraz. Strasznie mi... Cenę podali? Chyba nie podali. Nie słyszałem. Aha, 96,66. Okej. Stówka, $100 za kolekcjonerkę i stówka za grę. Rukla, siemano! Dziękuję za rajdzik. Piąteczka, Rukia. Piąteczka, stary. Dziękuję za rajdzik. Jogi, nawet ten gościu po prawej jest zawiedziony. No ten gościu po prawej to jest jeden z głównych twórców gry, to przynajmniej on jest zawiedziony. Doman jeszcze nie było, zobaczymy czy będzie, czy nie. Grand Admiral, dzięki za follow. Siemanko. Witam z rajda, dziękuję Grand Admiral. Siemaneczko. A, Rukia, jak coś to stara. To witam cię bardzo serdecznie, Rukia. W co było grane? My oglądamy dzisiaj deweloperów D4. Niestety. I czujemy się jak na targu. Czy jest czat na tym wywiadzie? Dobre pytanie. Nie ma czatu. Lepiej dla nich, żeby nie było czatu. Lepiej dla nich, żeby nie było czatu. Mi się wydaje, że czat zmasakrowałby ich za to. A, na Twitchu streamują też? To ja chcę puścić na Twitchu. Poczekajcie, to ja puszczam na Twitchu. Normalnie. Jaki jest konto na Twitchu tego? Battle.net? Blizzard? Blizzard pewnie jakiś. Diablo, kanał Diablo, tak? Diablo. Jest na żywo, faktycznie. 10 000 oglądających. Ty, a oni tutaj już gadają.
Times and probably like half the views on YouTube in itself.
Are you?
I am. I am boosting the YouTube viewership all by myself. It honestly is probably one of my most favorite cinematics.
Z czatem oglądamy.
SFT team has worked on here.
It's incredible.
Blizzard. It's incredible. I think it'd be good to like kind of help inform the community because I know.
No, dowiadujemy się
a lot of
dopiero
people,
gra
if you
Admiral.
follow Diablo, you know who like Lilith and Inarius are, but then there's a lot of questions related to like who is Lilith, who is Inarius, how important are they within the Diablo universe, and it'd be kind of like great to give a little primer on that.
Yeah, so, you know, Diablo 4
Teleshopping,
focuses on the
teleshopping.
world of Sanctuary, and
Ktoś
this,
napisał, teleshopping.
the world itself was created by Inarius and
Tu
Lilith.
many.
the Diablo, the universe of Diablo.
not important.
There's this eternal conflict between heaven and hell.
Diablo
with the
wewnątrz Diablo
angels,
beka.
on one side and the demons on the other side. And
Java.
Inarius and Lilith got tired of this and wanted to have a third way, and they created
Bazar
a world
Kura.
sanctuary where the humans live. and
Java,
Diablo
Bazar
takes
Kuras.
place.
Sort of
And-
abandon their responsibilities.
Okej,
for it,
dajmy
right?
szansę
Like, they're
jeszcze im.
expected to continue this war.
Well, that's certainly the take of the demons and the angels both.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
To normalne, Czuczu, tak.
And so, these two characters, these two antagonists, are a central part of the story as you adventure through the
Było
world of
możliwe,
Sanctuary.
zobaczymy.
These two founders who do not see eye to eye at this point, certainly, are a key part of the story that will unwind.
Yeah, so being able to like explore like Lilith as a character, explore Inarius' characters and like their motivations, kind of what led them to where they are now and why things are blowing up the way they are, yeah, definitely very important to the overall story. Very cool to explore as well.
Yeah, and I think like the cinematic showcases like amazing
gameplay,
moments,
footage,
especially
nothing of
about
the game.
for Inarius. I mean, he's very much center stage for kind of the first time that people really get to see or experience him in a Diablo game beyond just like the lore, the discussions, and so forth. And I
Dalej
think
sprzedają?
like
Teraz już chyba skończyli,
seeing his
ale
power
nic nie mówią
and
konkretnego.
what he represents right there was amazing.
Yeah, Inarius is a force, to be
Yeah.
sure. And it's so cool to be able to
Jezus, oni mają tak
tell
to
the
w
story in a
dupie.
way that we can have really
Tych dwóch gości ma tak w dupie to Diablo 4, oni w ogóle nie chcą tu być.
like you were saying.
Jezus Maria,
But
tak
also
to,
be
tak
able
to
to
widać, bardzo
represent
dobrze to
the
widać.
raw
Ta
power
udawana
of these ekscytacja. characters like Inarius. Like when you think about that shot of Inarius' wings, getting to see them over the army there, and
Like spreading out super wide. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. And angel wings have been such a beautiful part of Diablo games for a long time. I think back to the scene with Tyrael in the World Stone and how his wings were.
Tak, ten poprawę już dużo lepiej, bo
the
on
way that they
tworzył tą
move,
grę i
They have kind of this
on, wydaje mi się, że
quality that
bardziej się przejmuje
I
tą
don't
gierką
think
jednak.
I've seen any other wings, angel wings that are represented quite this way. They're just incredible.
Yeah, they feel very iconic to our angels in Diablo, right?
Absolutely. And then, of course, they're not just visually cool; they're also functional. You can see in the
Po skrzydłach widać
cinematic we just showed
Alcia.
when he lands, he actually impales a number of fallen
wyglądzie
off-screen
zbroi, wszystkiego.
Yeah.
with his wings.
Yeah, this is honestly one of my favorite parts where he's just like coming down and the fallen are in awe, and obviously he's just impaling
connection
them,
there.
and his feet landing on the ground, and like the
No ale każdy anioł ma inne skrzydła, archanioł. Każdy archanioł ma inne skrzydła charakterystyczne i po tym można rozpoznać, wiesz?
insane. You can tell he's got something on his mind. He clearly has an objective, wants to most definitely.
Ale nie
go
ma
towards
takich
it.
samych, Alcia, nie ma.
It's just insane to see the power that's behind him. And I think
Po broni
one
można
of my other
rozpoznać,
favorite
Tyrael
moments
ma
is
miecz.
kind of the pulse he sends out that like completely brightens up hell.
Wiesz
All
co, nie
the
działają,
fallen
teraz
are
wyłączyłem alerty,
essentially,
oddamy
like,
ci punkty,
blinded
wiesz?
by it, but it's got this unique sound to it and like a little bit of like fun Diablo
Jezus,
lore.
gadają teraz o filmiku i komentują filmik, jaki jest fajny. I jak się podoba temu gościowi Inarius i jego skrzydła. Jest dobrze.
It's almost like you're hearing his unique sound that he actually sends out, which just
Może
causes
Giltudo,
all the
no.
fallen to immediately move off
Inarius prawidłowo.
his power. that he brings.
Ta.
So yeah,
Posłuchajmy o skrzydłach Inariusa teraz, gościa, który nie wie, co to jest Diablo.
to the story between Inarius and Lilith, and it's weird to also think that Inarius is also kind of was originally serving under Tyrael, which is obviously a very familiar name within Diablo. So there's a lot more to reveal that we're going to be doing here over the next couple months as we lead up to launch, and of course when people jump into the game for the Diablo 4 story. But that cinematic.
No ale cię
was-
wyglądem, zobacz sobie skrzydła Inariusa,
Yeah.
skrzydła Tyraela. Zobacz sobie zbroję Tyraela, jaka była
The
złota,
next big
a
thing that we
Inariusa,
did
jaka jest
wanna talk
srebrna.
about,
Zobacz sobie
and this is
sylwetkę i
a
zobacz sobie
huge
broń.
part, because this is actually kind of a new thing that a lot of the community may have heard of, but probably don't have a full
Nie wiem,
details
Shinoda,
on,
ile to ma
and that
trwać.
is the Codex of Power.
Oh yeah, Codex of Power.
Yes, the Codex,
Codex
of
of
Power is
Power.
a brand new feature that's coming into Diablo
W końcu
4.
informacje.
It's a gameplay feature, and Mr. Joseph Pipora
Oh yeah. Yeah.
can give us a little bit more
I'll
details.
talk about this. So this is one of those things I would have loved to be able to talk about in a blog a while ago, but we weren't quite ready to reveal it at that time, and there was already so many things for us to discuss. So the Codex of Power is this new crafting feature that we're bringing online in Diablo 4. We're really, really excited about it. What it allows players to do is, as they're progressing through this, the massive interconnected world of Sanctuary, they're going to be discovering lots and lots of dungeons as they go. And when they find these dungeons and they delve deep into them, at the bottom of them, they're going to find what we call Codex of Power aspects. And an aspect in the Codex of Power is effectively a legendary power that's been put in this very particular form. And every one of these dungeons that players progress through in the overworld has a unique legendary power via the aspect found inside of them.
Yeah. What I love about that is that you can create a new character, and you can look at some of the powers that are available through these dungeons and say, okay, I really want to target this power. I'm going to go to this dungeon, get that power. So you're less dependent on like, well, I hope this power drops.
Absolutely. So there are limitations in place, but Joe, to your point, that is basically the intent here, right? Is to give players some manner and measure of control over the nature of their build as they're beginning to go through those steps. But the Codex of Power is a way for them to basically take these aspects, and then they're able to go back to a crafter back in one of the major cities, our new occultist crafter, actually. And when they go to the occultist, they can hand off actually, we're showing it right now. Our sorcerer's friend has just earned aspect of overwhelming bolts, which is going to allow her charge bolts ability to go and fire 2 more projectiles with each cast. She's going for like an up close and personal melee lightning build.
Mm-hmm.
So this shotgun approach for her spenders will be really, really useful. More bolts, more damage, definitely very good. Minor trade-off for the mana cost, but still what ends up being worth it in the end. Here we can see that the sorceress is now heading over to the occultist and is going to be choosing to imbue this aspect into one of their existing items. So she takes the item. So you're looking at a lot of work in progress stuff that we're looking at here, because this is a live cast. We'd like to be able to show some things off. You have an opportunity to go and basically override the existing legendary power on this and put in the new power they've just collected through the Codex of Power. Mm-hmm. So in this way, players get this deterministic way to kind of collect a series of these legendary powers that are out there in the game for them to find. But it's not all of them. You can only find some of the legendary powers overall in the game. There are over 120 dungeons in the game. So this represents like a lot of really exciting and interesting things for you to collect as you're going through these areas. Also, you don't just find legendary powers for your class. You'll find legendary powers for all of the classes as you go, and some ones that can work on multiple classes as well. And then we think this is really cool because every time you find an aspect through that you can put into your Codex of Power, this is now available to all characters in that realm. So, for sake of argument, if we're playing in Season 1, every character that you'd make, let's say you're playing your sorceress first, and you go find a whole bunch of werewolf, druid, based aspects as you're playing. When you go and you want to build a new werewolf character or a new druid character, you have all those aspects to play with from level 1 as soon as you want to start kind of like leveling up gear and getting into a position where you can make use of them.
That's
we
right.
love this idea of like making it so it's easier to go play with other builds.
Yeah, I love too how we've really been thinking about crafting in Diablo 4, and I love how the occultist figures into that crafting, right? Because when we think about legendaries in Diablo 4, what we're really talking about is the legendary power. And that legendary power can be moved around. You can use it to upgrade rares, and the occultist is sort of the central point of all of that crafting load.
That's absolutely right. So that was one big change we add with, and we've talked about in previous blogs before. But one big change in Diablo 4 is allowing legendary powers of a particular type to roll on lots of different item slots, which gives players an interesting game of deciding where they want to place certain powers to make the maximum use of them for their builds. Now the Codex lets them put them on the slots that are appropriate for that power. They can choose, right? But another limitation for the Codex power, in addition to not actually having the ability to collect all of legendary powers in the game, there's many, many more for you to find as you're playing through Diablo 4. those powers also are always rolled at the lowest level
Brona,
of power
siemanko!
possible. So it is
Siemaneczko,
always
Brona.
better for you to go find a legendary item that has the power that you're interested in.
Słuchajcie, z tymi Codex Power, moim zdaniem to jest spoko. Jakby teraz też obiektywnie już teraz, wiadomo jaki był początek streama i tak dalej. Codex Power, nie wiem czy to zrozumieliście, ale już wcześniej było wiadomo o tym. To nie jest tak, że 2 dni zbierzemy wszystkie moce z dungeonów i elo. Okej, zbierzemy, nawet jeżeli komuś by się udało zebrać je szybciej, jest ponad 110 dungeonów, zbieramy Codex Power, dropią nam do różnych klas, grając z jedną klasą dropią do różnych klas i imbiujemy przedmioty tym Codex Power, ale one zawsze będą trochę słabsze niż naturalnie, niż moce legendarne, naturalnie wydropione z przedmiotów. Mamy ulepszony Charge Bolt z Codex Power i ulepszony Charge Bolt z legendarki. I ten Charge Bolt z legendarki będzie dużo lepszy. Więc docelowo chcemy mieć moce z legendarek, więc chcemy dalej farmić, ale w ułatwieniu naszego buildu i tak dalej, żeby już ukierunkować nasz build, to Codex Power jest potrzebny, przydaje się, żeby mieć lepsze itemy. To jest spoko, mi się to podoba.
Losing a core part of your build as you're getting new gear.
Yeah, and the fun thing about this is that we do want players at the beginning to go through their class bands. They're making their skill tree selection.
Właśnie Karia powiedzieli, że ponad 110 dunków jest.
They're making their fun choices. We do want them to be able to still want to chase certain
ITV,
other
pozdro.
powers. Like for example, for this like kind of like melee focused lightning build, the player here is participating in right now. Like there are other powers that they really.
Codex Power to taki spirit przed Hoto, dokładnie.
It's going to allow lightning warp legendary. It's going to allow them to have the sphere basically orbit around them as part of combat, which as
Beta do beta, teraz powiedzieli, że będzie ponad 110 dunków.
of monsters trying to deal damage when they're up and close and personal. There's lots more things for that lightning sword to collect as they're going through, and then hopefully find the very best versions of those legendary powers as well as just finding the first.
Gra wygląda dobrze, podoba mi się.
Yeah, so I know with the Codex Power, this is kind of a new feature that's coming in Diablo 4, and we'll have more information and more details regarding like different parts of the Codex of Power and the different powers you can end up finding and so forth to imbue onto actual weapons or gear in general here in the future. Plus other mechanics and other systems that I know people have been talking about and wanting to know more about here.
No wiem, Shinoda, wiem, to jest główna obawa wszystkich, wiem.
Some time for some Q&A,
Ale jednak
because I know
podoba mi
we've
się
had,
ten,
a
tak jak
lot of
wygląda Diablo
different
4.
questions
Wygląda
that we've
mrocznie
seen pop
i
over the community
dobrze wygląda.
here
Dla
in
mnie.
the especially in the last week with all the announcements that we've actually had related to Diablo 4. And so I wanted to make sure that we spent some time on those. So we did collect a lot of these questions through different community channels, like some of our forums on like D3, D2R, where people are posting about Diablo 4 there, to Reddit. Some of our these questions actually came from like social media or even our content creators that actually do focus in on Diablo. So
Great.
let's kind of like jump into a few of these specific questions if we can. So first one we have is like, what learnings did you guys apply from other Diablo games to Diablo 4?
Yeah, this is a great question because when you think about the history of the Diablo IP, of all the games that have come, what we wanted to do is capture the things that players loved about each of those entries in the series. You know, and when you think about, so we really thought about how Diablo 1 really established sort of this tone of gothic horror, this really dark tone that was quite different from other things that you would see at the time. And we wanted to carry that forward and recapture that in Diablo 4. And then when we look again, what do players love and hold close to their hearts in Diablo 2? And we really wanted to capture that essence of having systems that unfold out and have all of this depth and ability to, look at it and nuance and think to yourself, okay, well, I'm really going to learn all of the details of this, and I'm gonna by having a deep understanding of this, I'm going to optimize my character in ways that people who don't understand these nuances will miss, and I will feel like, oh, I really am optimizing through this system in that. Really
the character's really like an expression of the choices you've made while you're leveling up and like making interesting decisions, right? Like
that's a great point.
It's really, really important. A lot more of that power is based on decisions that players made along the way.
Character power on the character itself versus
just stuff that you
the
wear.
itemization. Absolutely. And of course, when we think about Diablo 3, we think about the fluidity of combat, that sort of action aspect of the action RPG. The
Feels
moment-to-moment
really good to kill
gameplay.
monsters in Diablo 3.
Yeah, and you know, Diablo 3 added so much to
Dobry
not
wieczór,
just
Kazik.
the
Za kolekcjonerkę
player,
$97.
the player cast interactions. You know, when you talk about hit frames and contact frames and all of the sort of nitty gritty of how that smoothness is achieved. But also the effects on the monsters exploding, various ways that monsters can die, death kits, all of those kinds of things. And we wanted to make sure that we represented that in Diablo 4 and even at a grander scale. I mean, if you can't behead a fallen, then you know, what are we even doing here?
Yeah, what are we even doing here?
Exactly. Cool. For the next question we have, as I'm like dodging the camera and so forth, how does the Battle Pass work and how long does it go for? I know we talked a little bit about
to
Battle
jest
Pass, but I
ważne.
think this is actually a really good question as well.
Yeah, it's a great question. So the Battle Pass will last for the entire duration of a season, and a season is 3 months.
Yep.
So you'll have plenty of time to work your way through the Battle Pass. Active players are going to have no problem with that. You're not going to run out of time.
Yeah, and you'll be earning progress, like I mentioned before, by completing content in the season journey, but also just by like killing monsters, going through dungeons, completing quests. Like everything you do is be slowly earning progress towards your Battle Pass progress.
Yeah, and I know that because we talked about season journey beforehand and so forth, and again, that's just an opportunity for people who even don't have the Battle Pass will still have an opportunity of actually going through a season journey similar to what they kind of experienced with Diablo 3 and earning things and so forth from that specific moment as well.
Oh, I want to call it one more thing because I think there's another question here that sometimes is kind of asked, which is like, you know, how long am I expected to like to play in order to like progress through the Battle Pass? And like that's like close to like between 75 hours ish. Like it's in that kind of realm for the most part. And this is important because we don't want you to think like you hear that there's a Battle Pass that's going to last for 3 months. Am I expected to play every single day for 4 hours for 3 months? Like that's not how this works. We really want people to engage with it at a pace that is appropriate to you and feel that you've got the time necessary to like really go through the whole thing.
Cool. Next question that we have here is when does the first season of Diablo 4 actually start?
That's right. So we'll be able to
Okay.
share more details about the exact dates of when the season starts, along with more details about the first season, what kind of exciting things you're going to get to see.
Okej, czyli nie
coming
odpowiedzieli.
soon, but the key thing to know is that the game will launch in a pre-season mode,
Yes.
and the season will
Nie,
start.
Ola jeszcze nic ciekawego. Na razie sprzedawali
Yeah, so for those
kolekcjonerkę,
that
wiesz,
do
przez
end
pół
up pre-ordering
godziny.
again
Mówili,
on
jak bardzo fajna jest.
Digital Deluxe or the Ultimate version, they had the early access period.
A kto wprowadzić
The early
mema?
access will be, within the
To
pre-season,
Permita,
so it's not
Permita.
an opportunity to get a leg up over
dam.
other people in regards to that first season for Diablo 4.
Yeah, I really want to make
Masz
sure people have
Permita.
time to like really play through and enjoy the campaign and see all this content before they get ready to start fresh in season 1.
Exactly.
Next question. If I want to play Diablo 4 on PC and console, do I need to purchase the game for each platform?
Yes, so you do need to purchase the game for each platform that you want to play on.
Correct.
But the
Okay.
all of your progression, you can play between platforms, and all of your progression is cross-platform as well.
Yeah,
Kratki
and
zielony.
just to reiterate as well is that if you do buy the premium Battle Pass for like PC and you also play on Xbox, for instance,
akurat
your Battle Pass
oczywista
does carry
sprawa.
over because it is part of your
Normalka.
Battle.net account. So you'll end up progressing both on whichever platform that you actually do play on. You don't need to purchase a Battle Pass for each specific platform for each
No,
each time
to
you're
jest
playing on
normalne, nie?
PlayStation or on Xbox.
Self-hit nie, ta Lilith nie jest z kolekcjonerki.
Cool. Will familiar Diablo items be returning to Diablo 4? Sorry, I'm like ducking around to look
They will.
around.
They will. Joe, I
Yeah.
think you have some.
Yeah, so like I mean, there are a ton that are returning. There's so yeah, Shaco's coming back, Wind Force is coming back, Grandfather's coming back. There's
Szako w Diablo 4.
like Mage Fist is coming back.
And these are unique items.
So,
right?
yeah, I'm sorry. Oh yeah, so the that's a really good call out. So there are legendary items we talked a little bit before. They're that have like really particular powers, and then there are unique items that are much more powerful than legendary items are. Now,
Unikatne
legendary
to mają
powers can show
być
up in
bez
any
slot.
Unique items come with like a prefix loaded of like types of affixes that could appear in that thing, and then what the special power is tied to the unique item on its own. And they're difficult to find. They're really rare. They're fun chase items, and you can really build exciting builds around some of these things. But we've
Ej,
taken a lot
zaspamujcie
of the
Shakodina.
ideas from these items from
Faktycznie.
previous games, kind of
Shakdina.
reinterpreted them to make sure they work with Diablo 4, but tried to retain that thematic essence to them. like it's been an exciting challenge for the team to kind of go after and try to bring in. Yeah, we have a ton.
Diablo items returning. Fan favorites.
And a lot of new things too. So there's a mixture of both, but you will see some returning favorites.
Ale na kanale Diablo.
And I think that is the end of our questions that we had there, specifically that we ended up grabbing. I know that we...
Tak, unikatowe itemy będą najlepszymi w slocie i będą dawać najlepsze moce. Będą bardzo rzadkie. Parę unikatów na cały sezon dla jednego gracza, tak liczą.
Last live stream, but I'm gonna throw you guys, before we leave, some quick...
Lol.
Like, you know,
Koniec.
fast-paced shotgun questions, because I want to make sure that we have
Co?
all these and everything like that.
Koniec?
I'd be curious to know, favorite class in Diablo 4 for each of you?
Okay, fine. I'm
Dziwi
sorry.
laki są na czacie,
Rogue,
dobra.
okay, so that was easy. I guess Barbarian, but I think in terms of specs. So I could just talk for the 5 minutes, but no. Barbarian right now.
Yeah, you're right. There are so many cool mechanics.
Data bety,
when I say
cokolwiek,
rogue,
jakaś...
I'm thinking about the idea of being a rogue and running around like that.
I will
that's
say
what's-
Rogue is incredibly fun. Like, plays, like, like it's, if you want a fast, like, agile character that, like, is dancing around, like,
Oh
everything.
yeah, it doesn't disappoint
It is
mechanically.
the most... I would say that and the Necromancer are probably the two most fun and flashy like characters. Well, actually, I would say also even the Sorceress is flashy just because of all the spell effects and everything. So
Again, there's builds I love on all of the classes.
I personally, I'm a Druid fanboy. Always have been.
Bear, werewolf.
Actually, I've really enjoyed like the elemental specs
nature,
and so
yeah.
forth. Yeah.
Storm
So,
is so strong.
Storm is so fun.
We're gonna nerf Storm, everybody.
Just because I said something.
Just because we said it was good, so we're gonna go. We're not gonna just nerf Storm. Don't worry about it.
I'd be curious to know favorite enemy in Diablo 4. Maybe
favorite enemy.
Yeah.
O runach? Nie będzie
Or
run.
enemy family.
Nie będzie run w Diablo 4 Karia.
Wow.
Ani sowrunicznych.
I love what we were able to do with the Bloodcasters. There was actually an enemy in Diablo 2 under the city that is this vampire caster, very tall and thin and floating, and we were able to reimagine that in Diablo 4, and it moves by turning into bats. And it can form out of bats, so if you get a lot of bats in one area, it can turn into
Dziękuję
one
ci
of
za
these
suba.
casters.
Wait, did it
Dla
move in Diablo
Inariusa.
2 as bats?
No,
Piąteczka.
Maybe? I don't know. Yeah, like,
Nie, nie będzie run, no powiedzieli o tym. Nie będzie sowrunicznych. Pewnie zostałem tam na dodatek jakiś.
Usually you find them in like catacombs or something like that, and it's really dark, and maybe they have been, and I have had no idea. But yeah.
Dziękuję
Yeah,
ci,
for me it's
piona.
Drowned. Like I just the whole monster family for the Drowned, I really like. There's something about like the like these pale, clammy, like seaside monsters arising from the waters. And one of the things really fun is like they're really like strange and mysterious in the world. And I really gravitate towards that. Like, you know, they're covered with barnacles, they've got like all kind of like broken parts of like sunken sea vessels they use in combat. They just swarm all over the place. Often you'll find
Ja myślę, że runy zostałem na dodatek, bo zapowiedzieli już 2 dodatki przynajmniej. Będą przynajmniej 2 dodatki do Diablo 4, więc zostawiam sobie runy na później. To wiecie, i setów też nie ma. Nie ma setowych itemów i nie ma run jeszcze i słów runicznych. Będą w dodatkach na bank.
Fun fact you guys encountered
Na bank.
developing Diablo 4.
Fun fact, developing Diablo 4. I'm gonna throw it at Joe.
What do you
Sure.
think?
So, a fun fact I learned while developing Diablo 4, that it is very, very important while we're allowing players to like make a lot of choices and they're thinking about the way they like make like really interesting character for themselves. That we unveil that kind of slowly initially. Otherwise, we have a tendency to like get people like really like scared about making choices, and they kind of clam up, which is obviously not what we want. We want people to like be able to engage with these kinds of features. So it's maybe not like a fun fact, but I think it was very, very interesting. We went through a lot of iterations to get to the right place. I'm really happy with where we landed.
Yeah,
Da, super Smarku było.
I'm sorry, I should have given I should have given some other fun fact.
No. I think it's better.
Okay.
You know, I think
It's
we
better,
went
folks.
through we went through a lot of iteration on the first skill when you start out in the very beginning of Diablo 4. For a while, you started with one of your classes, left click, basic skills, and we had a lot of trouble with having that skill that we'd chosen for you, feeling like, well, I guess I should build a
Ja
spec
cię
around
kręcę,
it.
czyli żadnych informacji. Nic. Niczego się nie dowiedzieliśmy. Oprócz sprzedaży promocji kolekcjonerskiej wersji, tłumaczeniem się, że Battle Pass to nie pay to win. Ja cię kręcę, nie wierzę w to.
Fire, like spec sorcerers. They wouldn't think about like trying other skills. So
we ended up going with a basic. We ended up adding fairly late in development a basic attack that you start
A
with.
co myślałeś? No myślałem, że powiedzą, kiedy beta, konkretne informacje na temat gry, przedstawiam jakieś buildy, gameplay, cokolwiek.
Within the skill tree pretty freely. So
Yeah, and I remember that when it was originally like that, and thankfully we test internally and so
fix it.
forth. We get our own feedback from within the team of what people are actually doing from that end. Of course, and last but not least, the most controversial question: Team Inarius or Team Lilith?
Team Inarius. Even though I'm wearing my Lilith shirt.
I was
that's actually really funny. I guess still Team Lilith. I think I'm still
Okay,
team. I
we're
think I'm
split.
still Team Lilith. Yeah.
We're split. I won't break the tiebreaker here. We will keep the poll at
Oh wow.
50-50.
Trying to stay very neutral here.
I
in
will
the center.
stay neutral here. I will choose Team Bale. There
Oh,
you go.
Team Bale.
It's behind me. It's perfect. Uncle Bale. It's
Uncle
great.
Bale.
Uncle Bale.
It's perfect. Great. Well, I think that kind of wraps up our time here today on the developer update stream. I do want to note that we thank everyone again for tuning in for our first developer update stream. This has actually been kind of a crazy process of getting a studio up back in the building, and I'm happy that we can call this home for our streams going forward. We do have a lot of Diablo activities that are going on that we've announced or will announce here, I'll say in a second, for the whole entire franchise. If you are a big fan of Diablo Immortal or a player of Diablo Immortal, we just had a huge update for 1.7 come out yesterday. It's massive. It's probably our biggest update yet. So I do recommend checking it out. Lots of big narrative moments and whole new areas that kind of expand the campaign in Diablo Immortal, as well as a lot of quality of life features that the community's been asking for. So been hearing a lot of great positive feedback, and we're excited
no
that
one cares.
that's out right before the holidays. And then D2R, earlier this week, we announced 22 Nights of Terror.
That's
it's
right.
an in-game event that essentially changes the game
Nobody
every single
cares.
day, and it's kind of a
They seem
surprise.
excited
Think of
about
it
this
like
forced
a Diablo
news.
advent calendar, you could say. So that actually started earlier this week. And for Diablo 3 fans, we actually have a new holiday event. This is a brand new event for Diablo 3 that I'm really excited to.
Yeah, you've been working hard on this.
Ale
our
Beka jest
D3
na
team has
czacie.
been
Ja
working really hard, and they're working really hard on the next season. And we'll actually be revealing that tomorrow on the blog. So make sure to tune in for that. And we'll also have news related to, of course, the Darkening of Tristan, which happens every single year for Diablo 3.
Kosa,
and when
what
that will
is
be
mango
occurring. So
teleshopping?
make sure to check out Diablo3.com from that side.
Diablo 3 newsy jeszcze
Any
wlatują.
parting words from you guys?
Yeah. I really wanted to thank everyone for tuning in today and following us throughout the year. It's been a big year for us, as I was saying earlier. A ton of work getting all the content into the game, setting us up for next year, setting us up for release. We've got a lot of bugs to fix in the new year. We've got to make sure that our server architecture and infrastructure is in good shape for our betas coming up, and our release as well. So some work ahead of us, and we have a lot of exciting stuff to share next year as well through some of these live streams, more of these live streams. But you're not going to hear from us for a little while because we're all going to take some time off to be with our families for the holidays and really take a break from Diablo 4. Just not think about Diablo 4 for a little bit.
A restful holiday period for the team for sure.
Sometimes we have like builds up, people to like sort of like log in and continue to play, and like not this time. We're killing all the builds for the holidays and forcing everyone to not be on Diablo for a little while. Be good.
Any parting words?
Shout outs to the various Diablo updates we have coming down the road. I recommend everyone take some time to play some World of the Warcrafts because Dragonflight is rad, really fun. But for the community itself, I think that this has been a huge year for the Diablo team, much as Joe has already said. We're really excited to be able to just finally start sharing more and more about where the game is at and what we've been thinking about and what we value. It's been awesome talking to press. I really can't wait to just keep this conversation going. I think this is going to be the best thing for everybody, both for the dev team to be able to get this feedback and like hear the sorts of things that are interesting, and also make sure that we're regularly talking to you so you know what to expect and you know what we're kind of where our heads are at. So I'm really excited about like that. So thank you for sticking with us this long, and hopefully everyone enjoyed all the things that happened over the course of this last couple months.
Yeah, and like I said, this is kind of the new way that we're going to be communicating out to the community through these developer update streams. We're super excited for them, especially as we get into next year. We have way more information to reveal, including details next year, early next year, about the open beta and when that will actually be starting as well. So again, thank you everyone for tuning in, and I just want to say happy holidays, and we'll see you guys next year from the Diablo team.
No tak,
Thanks again.
Yep. See you, buddy.
Ja cię kręcę. Ja cię kręcę. Typeczki normalnie zrobili stream na niecałą godzinę, gdzie przez pierwsze pół godziny sprzedawali kolekcjonerkę i prezentowali co ma w sobie i dlaczego warto ją kupić. Potem przez 10 minut mówili o Battle Passie, o tym Seasonal Battle Passie i bronili się, żeby tylko nie wyszło, że tam są elementy pay to win i tak dalej. Więc wiedzieli, że za to ludzie ich cisną, więc chcieli to wytłumaczyć. A potem powiedzieli o tej Codex Power, o którym już i tak były wcześniej informacje i już jakby mogliśmy o tym wiedzieć. I o czym jeszcze? I o tym wspomnieli o unikatach tylko, że będą unikaty z Diablo 2, też niektóre typu Szako, Dziadek i inne pierdoły, więc to są wszystkie informacje, czego się dowiedzieliśmy dzisiaj na streamie, więc po prostu złoto, powiem wam, żadnej informacji o handlu większej, action house'ach, daty bety, niczego. Generalnie, jakby zostając obiektywnym, oczywiście ja dalej, jeżeli chodzi o same informacje, które mam z Diablo 4, typu ten Codex Power, inne rzeczy, itemizacja, te unikaty budzą też fajną nadzieję, że będą tak piekielnie rzadkie, no to spoko, nie? To spoko, w sensie ja generalnie mi się to podoba, nie? Ale sposób prezentacji tego przez nich, że po prostu czujemy się jakbyśmy byli na streamie przekupek z targu, no to jest takiego czegoś nigdy jeszcze nie było. Nie, to po prostu jest dramat. To jest dramat. Gość z kartką w ogóle. Znaczy to tam pikuj ze z kartką, ale to chodzi o sam fakt, że czuć było, że oni to mają w dupie, nie? Że oni są po prostu tutaj tymi. Że jakby tutaj nie czuć żadnej pasji, zaangażowania, a myślę, że ten po prawej deweloper to był zły, że musi tam siedzieć, bo widział jak to wygląda. Tak, Azazu, no. No, jakby i tak jakby mam nadzieję, że sama gra będzie się broniła gameplayem i innymi rzeczami. Ale no. Ale wiecie. Ale sposób prezentacji tego nie budzi dobrej nadziei, nie?